There was 8 in the family, 4 boys and 4 girls. And I was the second baby. His grandfather was Irish.
And he was tall as well, because I remember
6'2",
yeah.
very handsome man.
I saw a picture of him with Anne was showing.
Yeah, very strong, good-looking man. Deep blue eyes.
Yeah.
In the army, and that's one thing he spoke about the army. Never spoke about his experience in fighting in the war, but it's just little things he slipped with too, like my mum. You know, but little things, as he said, I had privileges,
because
but I didn't
of the color
accept
of his skin. Yeah.
But I didn't accept them because my black brothers, weren't having that same.
Included.
My father, he worked on a farm. He was very good with the farmer because when that farmer went to England, him and his wife, to have a holiday, he trusted my dad. He said, "You'll look after the farm for me," so my dad did.
What kind of farm was it?
It was a grazer with all cattle and fowls and everything, vegetables. He got paid. Yeah, he got enough. I don't know. Yeah, just enough. But I don't know how much. I was just happy with seeing lovely food on the table, and my mum was the greatest cook.
So no one starved, in other words? No one
starved.
You had plenty of food?
We had plenty of food, and she baked a lot of scones and dampers. She loved doing those kind of things and inviting people over, who had less. That was my mother.
Were you in a special place only for Aboriginal people?
Yeah, it was only for Aboriginal people. The government thought, well, we're going to get a few acres of land and we'll shove these Aboriginal families on it. I just don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they thought we weren't, they looked at us like cattle and sheep, fencing us in. Was on that mission, but there was the government even paid, I called a manager and his wife and family to come and live on the mission to control the family. They were supposed to help the Aboriginal families and that, but they controlled the Aboriginal families.
So it was like a mini government. It was like a
mini government. Yeah. And we weren't allowed, because some of weren't allowed to go off the mission or come under the mission unless we asked the permission of the white manager.
So you couldn't get out.
Checkpoint Charlie type of thing.
How many people in the mission?
And I think there was
how many families?
Families. I think it was about 400.
Okay, well that's
400 families. That was a big mission. But there was other missions that was more homes on the missions that was bigger than Purfleet Mission.
What were the houses like?
The houses was all wooden.
Wooden house.
Floorboards and the verandas, the walls and everything, and floorboards.
Floorboards.
Yes, and you had to be very careful walking around barefoot because there were splinters in the floor that came off the old wood. So what my mother used to do, and with my brothers and my father, they'd go down to salt water. That's not far from Purfleet. That's where our land is there now. Big land that was given back to us. And she'd have the boys, my brothers, to shape up sandstones and bring them back home. And my mother I seen my mother on her knees with a big dish of water with this sandstone. And she'd go from one back door and scrub. And she'd done that nearly every, 2 days a week. The floors were white. You could eat off them and smell very, very clean. And even the tables, the top of the tables, she'd use the sandstones on the tables, or the little cupboard sideboard tables. All was white. And the splinters. Yes. She was with this sandstone, it was smoothing off the floorboards with the splinters. And she's very fluid and smart in that way, my mother, and very creative as well. So she done that. And people used to come in and look at it. Oh, gee, Anna. Gee, where's your table? White? Mine's not white, you know. Look at your sideboards, all white. You know, oh yes, she said, here. My mother used to go and get the big bread knife, chop the sandstone in half. She was a real giver.
Okay.
She used to give things.
Yeah.
And my dad would say to her, don't give too much away.
We won't have any left. Tell us about your mother, Anna.
My mum was a victim of the stolen generation. She was mistakenly taken by an Aboriginal man who was looking after them after her mum and dad passed, and put in a Cootamundra girls' home. Her age would be about 8. Yeah, 8. She mentioned, I remember my mother saying 8 years old when, I think it was my younger sister, when she turned 8. And
Cootamundra Girls' Home, is that a place for orphans or people, Aboriginal people were taken who didn't
just
have
for
parents?
the government had it all planned, for the welfare, just to have this place. Before, I think it was a mixed thing for boys and girls, I think, but then they planned it to be just the girls, because they split the boys and the girls. The boys up in North Coast in Kempsey, and the others at Cootamundra. They left the girls for Cootamundra.
It's all girls.
Yeah, so
And they trained them for service.
Trained them to be out in services for rich families.
What kind
From
of
8
service?
years old, my mum, right up until 17, 18, she was sent out to service to very rich people that lived, I think she said somewhere in Sydney here, out at Sutherland.
Oh.
And very rich. And she looked after the children as well.
To do domestic work.
And she done the domestic work, as well, looking after putting the kids off to school and waiting for them in the afternoon, because the parents would be, both parents are working. And she spoke about that a lot, about that kind of
Period
work.
of her life, yeah.
Yes. And
how old would she have been that time?
She was about 16, 17 years old.
And then she met your dad?
Well, Dad was wandering around looking for this place called Wingham. Him and his brother, Uncle Charlie.
Where's Wingham?
Wingham is about nearly 20 kilometres from Taree, from the mission. And it's more in the bush, and it's really lovely. All of nature all around. So the land that was given to my father, it was promised for him when he come back from World War One. And that was the land. He went up to check it out then, him and Uncle Charlie. Well, whilst he was there...
Uncle Charlie was his brother?
Yes.
Okay.
And while they were there, they did meet Aboriginal men on the mission there, see? Pals, introduced themselves. And that's when he seen my mum. Because the spirit, when she was time for her to leave that domestic work, she come towards Taree.
Why was she in Taree that time? From Sutherland?
From Sutherland,
yes.
She thought, I remember Uncle Clenny. I remember Uncle Clenny mentioning a town called Taree.
Who was that? Was that her uncle?
No, my uncle.
Your uncle, okay.
Who looked after them.
Oh, okay.
With his 3 kids.
All right.
And she remembered that from an 8-year-old girl up to a teenager. And I believe the spirit done that for her. I believe then in that. I believe that the spirit, the big spirit, led all those girls out of their homes back to their families. I believe that they led all those boys back to their families.
Do you know about the love story, how it occurred?
Well, no. Well, he spoke about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he spoke. He said how lovely. He said I went there. He said and seen all the girls. When they see a new face, yeah, a young man come there, everybody's all giggling. They all giggle and hide, you know, the girls. But he said one didn't hide. She came out and she was busy because it was having it's like a function held in the big hall on the mission. Might have been somebody's birthday. He didn't say, but he said they were all bread, buttered and cooking up there, you know, and everybody cooking and my mother was there and he said she was the busiest one. She was sorting all the cakes and scones and things all out. All the others busy giggling and peeping at all the boys. And she thought, like he said that when he looked at her, he said, hello. He said, where can I get some water? Just an excuse to talk to her, you know. And she said, it's over there. Never even looked at him. He said, she never even looked at me. All she did is over there. And he had these little tanks up on a sort of like boxes and stuff, and where they can get their water, a little tap in it. And so he said he was watching her. He was fascinated in her, all her movements, the way she done things, and the way she held herself and corrected herself, pulling her frocks down, and you know, he said he watched that. Those other girls didn't even do that. None of them done that.
That's interesting, yeah.
They had rough ways, you know.
Yeah.
And your mother, he said she was very, very, you know, an elegance about her.
Demeanor.
What happened with the land? Did he ever find the land?
Yeah, we were kids. I remember him taking us up there. We had a car, 2 cars, and a little ute. My uncle had a ute. We all go up, families go up and spend a weekend on my father's land. It was an old farm, but broken down and all
but
that.
But it wasn't part of the mission, right? It was
No.
a land that was outside the mission.
Outside the mission.
Well, they could have lived there. Why didn't they live there?
20 k's away.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, why didn't they live there?
Yes, because there was a big signs up on prohibited not to go near the place. It is his land, and they wouldn't believe him. He said, I've got the papers. He just got the papers in a Taree, and he just said, here, I own it. I'm the owner of that land. And they said, no, sorry, we've got to get more information from Melbourne, I think. Eventually, he got the land. Well, it was a day, really, a day we were looking forward to go down, like always, all us kids, to go swimming in the Manning River. And my cousins, my brother. So it was the day also that my mum was put in hospital for her second stroke. And so going down swimming with the other kids and with my brother sort of took our mind off a little bit. We played and had a really happy time down there. And there was this boy. He leaned over, he said, hey, Ali Morris. I said, oh, somebody's singing out to me. Who's that? So we all got out and looked up onto the bridge, the rail of the bridge. And it was this boy. He said, your mother just died. When he said that, it was just like electric shock went all through every part of my body. And I couldn't move. And I remember my brother trying to, like he had his arms around me and try to make me walk, to lead me to the big steps to go up onto the main road. So all the kids all got together and all got around me. I started walking up the steps. My brother was half carrying me. And he was crying too. but I couldn't cry. I was in shock. But I can hear my brother crying. I can hear my cousins crying. And then when we got on the top of the road, we all walked home. When the funeral day came, I don't think I cried then because I was busy looking at everybody all coming around in a big circle in that cemetery around my mother's open grave with a casket on the top. As I was watching all our people coming in and getting around in a big circle, everybody was crying. And then when the pastor of the church was saying some little things, words, scriptures from the Bible, I noticed then these people across straight opposite to the cemetery on the Pacific Highway. And it was a white manager and his wife, police officer, and two other people. People were saying and whispering in the crowd behind me, saying the welfare officers are there with the manager and his wife. So I was, as a child, looking over there and thinking to myself, why are they standing over there? Why don't they come here with the rest of us here and attend my mum's funeral? And then all of a sudden, the people started to crowd me and my younger sister. And all of a sudden, we're in a circle and our hands got ripped out away from the adults' hands. And we were running. My aunties was running with me and my younger sister. And my brother and other sister was all in the front. While we were running, the low branches was hitting my face. I looked behind me and turned around and see my baby sister behind me, but low branches was hitting her face until we got to a little old utility truck. And there was my uncle. He had this, and my cousins were there with this utility truck. So they put us up on the utility truck. My dad climbed up on the truck with us, and my brother and my other sisters and brother, they were saying bye-bye to me and Judy, my sister, and my dad. While they were waving, we had the roughest ride through that bush until we got to Taree Railway. So waited for nightfall, and I see my dad coming, and the old aunties were still there with us. The guardsman of the freight train, he was saying to my father, all right then, James, he said, put the girls up here, you and the girls get up here, to put us in the van. Put us under this smelly, oily canvas that was tucked in the corner. Put us underneath that with chaff bags over me and my sister and pushed us under this canvas. I remember that bad smell. Not bad, but it was just oily smell of that canvas. It stayed with me for a few years after that smell. My father woke me up and he said, look, it's daytime. We jumped up and we looked out the window. We could see all this paddock filled with all these yellow animals. And I said, Daddy, what are those things? And he said, oh, you call them sheep. Oh, the sheep. I said, yes. He said, yes. So he took us to my older brother's home, and his wife was there with the baby, little toddlers there. My father went back. He caught the next train back because he had to go and help with the funeral arrangements and everything. It's just hard. In a strange home, strange place, strange home, strange woman. My sister-in-law, didn't know her, and I was about 13 years old then. We stayed there. We went to school there, primary school. The spirit was calling me back home. When my dad come back, he said, "You want to go back home, do you?" I said, "Yes." So he took both of us back home again. That evening of my mother's funeral, and the welfare officers and the white manager and his wife turned up at my brother's home, knocked on the door and said, "Where's Jim and the girls?" My brother said, "Oh, I don't know," he said, "and they're not back yet. Maybe they're still at families' homes." Said, "Oh, well, we'll come back tomorrow morning." And when they come back again that morning, they said the same thing to my brother. "Where are they?" He said, "Oh, well," he said, "I'm sorry to tell you, Mr. Briggs," he said, "but the three of them, my two sisters and Dad, are in Dubbo at the moment. So there wasn't anything you can do. So we was too far away. They couldn't take us, me and my little sister, and put us in Cootamundra Girls' Home where my mum was in. 6 months afterwards, we ended up going back down to Purfleet, Taree again. When we did go back home, my father knew it was time for him to teach us about our Aboriginal spirituality and culture. The time was right for him. He sat us down, and what he done, he had 2 boxes on the table. He had a white square box and a black square box with just 1 door in each box. And we all sat down wondering what was going on. He said, "At the moment," he said, "you're all living in the black box. In this black box is where you knew peace, is where you knew happiness, you knew a lot of joy for moments in your life. Your spirits were free. Then one day, you're going to leave that black box. You're going to leave this black box, open the door, close it behind you." He said, "You're going to turn around and go through this white door. In this white box, you'll find things will be really, really different from the black box, Ali." He said, "You'll have your joyful times, yes. You might be happy, yes, at times." And he said, "Your spirit is free, yes, maybe at times, but you'll feel much, much different in this white box." He said, "Because you'll find a lot of heartaches, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of disappointments, disheartenments." He said, "And a lot of wrongdoings will be done to you, will hurt you very much. But while you're in this white box, I want you never ever to forget your strength as a black child, who you are as an Aboriginal girl, your belonging, who you are, knowing who you are, and be proud." I grabbed that teaching, and I'm glad I did, because the day I did walk out of that black box, every bad experience I'd come across, I'd say, "I remember this now. I remember what Dad told me, and this is it." And I knew it hurt, those experiences of what happened to us, to me especially. But yet I had the strength to continue because of my teaching in the black box. I was never a shy person, never, because I knew who I was, a proud black girl.
The story's right, the story's true. I would not tell lies to you, like the promise said they did not keep, and how they fenced us in like sheep. Said to us, "Come take our hand," set us up on mission land, told us to read, to write and pray.
That hit me at that time
had to take all these years, nearly 78 years old now. And she's taken me all that years for a flashback to say, because of my mum. And I promised myself then, I said to Dad, I'm going to promise myself, I'm going to, when I grow up, when I get married, and become a wife and a mother, I'm going to be the bestest mother in this whole wide world. The energy of motherhood is going to come out of me and shower my children.